and welcome to another GameFed couch session. I'm with
Nyto.
So I'm with Nyto and Jackinaction, and I am Jamie Plays, and today we're answering your questions!
I haven't read them. I'm excited to like be probed. That came out wrong. There we go.
Yep. So this comes from Matthew. And Matthew says, the Australian video game industry is troubled. None more than so the overall price of video games. Video game retailers have said that the prices have been so expensive or someone will lose their jobs. But journalistic sources have suggested that the prices are so high simply because Australians have proven willing to pay it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
First off, who's losing their job? Who exactly? Australian devs? Because they can live off noodles and hope, my friends. Not that they want to, but don't, give me nonsense. Is it retail stuff? Also nonsense. It's EB Games and JB Hi-Fi. They're the main sellers of content. They're not going anywhere. So that comes down to how much they're willing to pay. That's a separate issue. No one's going to be losing money for people being given, as we're proper Australians, I'm going to say it, a fair shake of the source bottle. All right? So the idea that someone's going to suffer for us not being effed in the A price-wise is not something I agree with at all.
I do disagree that they shouldn't be as high as they are. Definitely, if they were dirt cheap, it would be amazing. Yeah.
So your point is that it shouldn't be as high, or you think that they're justified?
I don't think. No. I don't think they're justified at all.
Right.
I think, to answer the question that you had before, who does this go to? It would go to the company, and I think that this, losing of jobs is just a.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's a veil.
It's utter bollocks.
Yeah. So.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, okay.
So I believe, obviously, game making is an art form, and I think it's very important to highlight paying for art and artists, especially independent artists as well. I mean, obviously, independent artists aren't the ones who are charging ridiculous amounts of money.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can pay full price on those games, pay full price on those games, guys. I think we need to be willing to pay high prices for games that have such huge teams on them, that do have to do a lot of jobs, that are art, that do have so many hours worth of gameplay. I think they're worth it. I do think we need to change the gap difference between us versus...
That, I think, is the biggest concern people have. I don't think anyone, and if they do, buggier, I don't think anyone has an issue with paying what they think is right. In fact, and I talk about this quite a bit on my Facebook page and so on, Australians in particular want to pay for stuff, right? And there was an example on Foxtel and how they had a new streaming service, Foxtel Game of Thrones. Guess what happened? The app crashed. And no one could watch it when they wanted to watch it, like everybody else could overseas. And yet, they were expected to pay a huge amount of money per month for an app that didn't work.
That is the
and
hardest.
I think that sums up Australians' issue with games as well.
Yeah, I think in general, Australia wants content at the same time as the rest of the world.
We want to pay for stuff.
And we're happy to pay for it, because otherwise we want to try and get it for free. But not because we want to do things illegally, but because we just want content.
If it's not fair, people are going to do something that might be considered illegal.
Continue on with this kind of theme.
Yeah.
Does the Aussie game industry have the ability to do more physical releases? The last one I know was the AFL game. Should overseas companies charge Aussies less for digital releases?
I'll answer the second one first. Yes, because living somewhere should not mean you pay more. Especially digital, because it isn't. There's no postal service. It's nonsense. The first question, as far as I know, it's not really an issue for Australian stores to release physical copies. If we had more Australian developers, AAA, that might be more of a question. But as far as I know, there aren't that many anymore since Team Bondi died. So yeah, I mean, as far as physical copies go, I can't think of any game that, aside from indie titles, and I mean really indie, like, have to sell it, at PAX to be heard and fighting for space on Twitter kind of thing. Aside from those, I think you can pretty much pick up everything physically. I don't know if it'll stay that way forever, which is an issue for collectors, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess for games that sell out quite quickly, that's that's probably the closest thing I can draw to that. But I never really find the case to be that easy. As opposed, what's the?
So we were
is
also
it
talking
okay
about
to
charge Aussies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Seriously, I guess some of that. I mean, would some of that go into government taxing as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
There actually is a tax.
Yeah,
There is a tax for digital sales.
So that makes it.
Explain that.
Yeah, that makes it difficult for other companies. So in that sense, companies shouldn't make it cheaper. The government should, lower the tax.
The only thing I would accept in terms of paying more, like 10% more or whatever, have that little thing involved, is if it's a Australian production. That would be my exception. I would pay more for content being made here, and the government like having a big stamp or something like we made this here, because there's places like Screen Australia for films and things like that. If something like that was created, I would pay the extra $1 for that.
Cool. Now, since we've had shows, I'm gonna say it. Guys. Since Good Game, the main channel, is gone, do we need more shows like these two shows that we both know exist?
Yeah.
Do we need that? Does Australia need that?
I think there needs to be at least 2, because then you've got like the competition. So competition is always great for those. It's always striving to be better.
I think having game shows on TV is important, though I do feel like moving to web spaces like YouTube and just on ABC iView, that sort of thing is also great, because I feel like that's where the world is going anyway.
That would be my argument. That's essentially it. People who watch TV, fans of a thing might go and watch TV, but it's not a natural habitat anymore. I do not think that it will survive. I think it will go out the way of newspapers eventually. If you're smart, you will do online content, push that, and eventually the world will catch up with you. We're already running down that path.
Yeah. So you wouldn't watch a game show on TV?
I don't.
No?
I don't have a connected TV. Okay. I haven't for about 6 years.
Wow.
Because it's a pain in the ass to set up. Apart from
you
ABC,
don't need a TV license though.
That's true. We don't live in England. It's a pain in the ass to set up. Minus 2 channels, it's commercial. Don't get me wrong, we're kind of going down that road with online TV, which is worrying as well. But it's like 3 minutes of commercial and then the thing. It's frustrating. I don't like it. A lot of people don't like it either. I bet if I did a survey of all the people here, I'd be curious to know if you still have a TV connected. I know I certainly don't.
I have a TV connected, but I don't really watch it. Sometimes I'll watch like a bit of news in the morning, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, going on that point, like as in this content existing and not necessarily being on TV, I think that's super important. I think definitely what we've seen is there is an audience for it, even if certain like even if the ABC doesn't agree. So I think the only way that you can tell these executives and these companies that, hey, we are an audience, we are here, and make them regret their choices and, for more things to flourish is why I said, again, just saying, hey, we're here and we want this. And that's how you get stuff done, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it's all we can do.
Yeah, I definitely think it should exist. So yeah, that's an answer to the question. Yeah.
Now,
but just not on TV.
Yeah.
Ferre says, what's the best way to get the greediest and ugliest games publishers to change their ways? My thing is to really, as far as like, because I automatically go to a different side of this as well. It's like things like accessibility. Are they doing this right? Are they actually meeting, the things that those extra steps that we want from games? I think if they're not, call them out on it and call them out on it publicly. Because if you go, and maybe even like publicly is one way, but also maybe emailing them directly, contacting them.
Send them an angry letter.
Doesn't have to be angry, but more like...
No, it has to
That's
be
what
angry.
that's what I was gonna get at next. Like, if you're gonna go down that road, be nice.
Yeah, be considerate.
You don't have
Constructive
to like
criticism.
them to be
Hey
polite.
guys, this is actually kind of like I love your brand, or I love these games, but I'm concerned about this, and I really want to see this. And you know what? I really need subtitles. Can I please have this?
Yeah.
So it's just about saying, hey, I'm a consumer, and I am invested in your product, and I'm really, really wanting to buy more, but I'm hesitant because of X.
Yeah.
And they will listen to that.
Vote with your dollar.
We've kind of covered this before. It's just say your opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, in a way. They, if anything, chokehold on their financial stuff will probably make them double down. You cannot make people care about their customers.
No.
That's
They only see through money, really.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So like I think that comes from a genuine passion. If you don't have it, it's not going to fall in your lap one day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I won't say boycott.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't rid yourself of an experience just because.
Exactly. But if you feel like for example, I'm not afraid to name names. I'm really bored of Ubisoft's games, and they're greedy. So a lot of the time, I just go, nah, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they are a business.
Yeah.
If I am cynical by nature, so I think someone's going to do the wrong thing. But then again, if it looks like they're going to be less well off, they're probably going to consider changing their ways.
And what's also great is that even if you don't start liking a certain company's games anymore,
Right.
there are so many games to play these days.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Go and play a different game, and
There are indie sales happening right now on PS4. People that work really damn hard. Go and buy some of those.
so now we have a question from Pobby.
Pobby. How's it?
Pobby.
Pobby. Right. Got it.
Are you guys going to bring other guests or more content creators?
I have when we restarted, relaunched
Rebooted.
GameFed, rebooted,
Rebooted.
whatever you
whatever.
GameFed 3.0. What did we decide?
Re-sequel boot launch. So when we did that, one of the things I suggested was game dev interviews. I really still want to do that. The problem is equipment.
It's
money.
really difficult to organise.
Yeah. We are lucky. Tom and I live in Melbourne, where the most game making goes down. So it is a thing we're definitely thinking hard about. And I think now that we've seen how we work together in person, I think it's going to be a lot smoother from.
I'm
here
less
on
afraid
out.
of his beard.
Yeah, it's really imposing on the screen. It's much more fluffy in person.
So we obviously the biggest place that we have guests is the podcast.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Getting guests on the podcast is something that we try to actively do, especially with our accessibility and inclusiveness episodes, which are the ones I'm currently working on. So expect some in episode
3.
Is it 9, 10? Whatever one has come, there is. We are working on a podcast
is
episode
certainly
that does
an
have guests.
episode.
You will get at least 2 video interviews and 1 non-video interview. So there will be guests.
G'day guys, Jackinaction here, and thank you once again for checking out the final episode of Question Couch. Fun fact about this series, this was not planned. Jamie just happened to be in town where me and Tom were in Melbourne, and we decided to shoot over the 2 days that we were there. We had a wonderful time, if you couldn't tell, making up our own questions and answering yours. If you have any more questions, feel free to throw them at us. Maybe I'll answer it, maybe Tom will, maybe Jamie will, maybe the 2 of us will, maybe 3 of us will again. Who knows what the future holds. But I wanted to thank you once again for liking, commenting, and subscribing, as it really does help us out. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and like our Facebook page, as there's going to be a bonus video on there about the subject of the film industry that our friend Matthew asked me personally, and I go ahead and answer that on there. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching once again. My name's been Jack in Action, and I will see you on the internet.